we continue with our session. Anyone has any questions in the session so far? Yeah.
Did Prabhupada they give that small suitcase to the...
Any other question?
So, you were speaking about perplexity and discouragement.
Yes.
How long is... I'm sure like if perplexity is long enough, it gets turned into discouragement. So what's the best way to get out of perplexity?
The question is, if you do not resolve your perplexity, it may degenerate into discouragement. So how you can avoid the perplexity to go to the level of discouragement? The most effective way is Sangha, association. Because even the best doctor can't heal himself. The doctor always needs another doctor. So even the biggest scholar needs help of another devotee to help. So when you are going through difficulty, you will need the presence of another devotee. That's what Krishna is revealing through the pastime of Ashwatthama. Krishna is saying, I am there, but you support each other. And that is the essence of Vaishnava relationship. Yadishayi Mahaprabhu na pai kripadhan ki varajya ki badena sabha karan. Sarabhama upadeshe chhade rajavesh ekale Vaishnava veshe korila pravesh. प्रभु कहे के तुम्हें करिला मोरहित आज चंपिते आसी पियाओ कृष्ण लाम्र. राजा कहे आमी तुम्हार दासरण दास भक्तिर भक्तिकर एवरास. पूर्व सेवा देखी तारे कृपा को जिला अनुसंधान विना कृपा प्रसाद को. So Mahaprabhu refuses to give mercy to Prataprutra, king, and he's bewildered. Everybody is bewildered. But then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya holds his hand, supports him, gives him courage, encourage. So when we become hopeless, at that time, devotees association helps us gain confidence and faith. So therefore, that's very important to appreciate. And in the Puranas, it is described, Bhumau skhalita padanam bhumirevavalambanam tvai paradanam tvameva sharanam Prabhu. When I am walking on the path, I slip on the floor and I fall. When I slip and fall, I want to get up. I slip because of what? The floor. To get up, I have to take shelter of what? The floor. So if you say, I am feeling frustrated because of some devotee's behavior, and so I am getting inspired to leave devotees. No. Some devotees' interaction has created some kind of difficulty for you. You take shelter of other devotees. Use the floor to get up. You have to take shelter of that same tattva. That's important. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu, he was given a verdict by the police that he has to go to jail because of dealing with drugs. So he was involved in some drug related issue before he met Prabhupada. But that verdict came after a couple of years after he had already joined ISKCON. So this is 1969. He comes to Prabhupada and says, Srila Prabhupada, I have to go to jail. And he's like thinking, Prabhupada will be so heavy, angry. and Prabhupada will blast him. And Prabhupada says, Krishna was born in jail. So at that moment, as they say in Hindi, "Bhukte ko tinke ka sahara." When a person is feeling hopeless, then even a little bit of positive words can act as nectar. And in that emotionally traumatized state, one sarcastic remark or one negative feedback can collapse the person. So that is the moment where we have to be very, very careful how we deal. Because the person has become very emotionally sensitive. So Prabhupada said, he was born in a jail. Krishna was born in a jail. Then Prabhupada said, okay, what was the problem? What is the crime for which you are being convicted? So Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, Prabhupada, I was dealing with drugs. Prabhupada said, me too. I was running Prayag pharmacy. So it kind of made him feel, okay, you're not an untouchable person. We accept you. Because jail is something where most people feel something abnormal. It's not something to feel proud of. I was doing a lecture in a jail in Mumbai. Right in front of me, I found 4 or 5 people sitting with lockets around their Kantimala Tilak locket of Krishna. And I looked at them and I was wondering whether they are devotees or they are the speakers after me or they are residents of the jail. And you cannot ask anybody in jail also, kaise aana hua? Because if you cannot ask, how you came here? Because somebody may have committed a crime. So as I was giving a talk in the jail, somebody called for me to the telephone operator and said, where is Gauranga Prabhu? And the operator said, he has gone to jail. So the guy who called up got bewildered. He said, what happened, Prabhu? Is everything okay? So they said, you are in jail. I said, no, I've gone for giving lecture. So when Prabhupada, he told Shyam Sundar Prabhu, don't worry. You will stay for some time, but they'll release you. This is 1969. So the conviction was for 5 years, 4 to 5 years. But somehow, mystically, in 6 months, someone from the jail came and said, we have your release order. Till date, he doesn't know how it happened. And history would have been different. Because Shyam Sundar Prabhu was released. Then in 1970, he met the Beatles, George Harrison. They got connected. They produced music that attracted millions of people in the Western world. Shyam Sundar Prabhu comes to India. He has this whole Pandal program, Cross Maidan, creates a wave of preaching in India. Shyam Sundar Prabhu takes Prabhupada, goes to Russia, opens up Moscow, meets Ananta Shanti. Seeds of Russian preaching is established. So, it all came out of that one interaction where Prabhupada said, no problem. You're going to jail, you're not untouchable. You're not abominable. We don't reject you. We accept you with all your faults. So therefore, that is Krishna consciousness movement, that this is meant for reformation, transformation. पूर्व सेवा देखी तारे कृपा उपजिला अनुसंधान विना कृपा प्रसाद कोरिला मूर्ख नीच क्षुद्रमयी विषय लालस Vaishnavagya bole kore eteka sahas. He says, Kaviraj Goswami, I am murkha, I am foolish, niche, fallen, shudra, insignificant, vishayalalas, attached to sense gratification. Vaishnavagya bole kore eteka sahas. I am having so much guts only based on order of the Vaishnavas. So therefore, the bottom line is Sangha. Vaishnav Sangha. Okay, what is Vaishnav Sangha? Vaishnav Sangha is that rope which lifts us from the quicksand of material sense gratification. So therefore, Vaishnav Sangha is that which is pulling us. I am drowning. What connects the Sangha to me is the rope. The rope is that of Shraddha, faith. So what we should not do is we should not cut that rope. So when we criticize Vaishnavas, Vaishnav Ninda is like the knife which cuts that rope of Shraddha. That faith connects the drowning man to the rescuer. And that's what Manthara did when she cut that faith which Kaikeyi had in Lord Ram. Because once that rope is cut, with all the good intention, people on the shore are pulling, but they are pulling on a rope which is not connected to the drowning man. What is the point? I was in Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. Such a crowd, heavy crowd. Those of you who have been during Rath Yatra, on Rath Yatra day. One devotee came next to me in Balram Rath just before we began. We were getting pushed from all sides. He said, Prabhu, don't worry, I am there to protect you. And once the Rath Yatra began, he got swept away. I didn't see him till next day. You literally become helpless in the midst of that crowd. And when you pull on the Rath, you cannot pull for more than 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It's heavy. Like more than 1.5 million people are there pulling on the 3 Raths. So at one point of time, I was thinking, we are not getting more than 20 seconds to pull. So towards the end, we were pulling the Balram Rath and suddenly we felt we are pulling and pulling for a long time. And I was feeling very happy. At last we got to pull long time. Then figured out they removed the rope from the Rath only. So we were only taking the rope with us. The whole crowd was running only with the rope. So no longer connected to the Rath. So if the connection is not there, what you will do? So therefore the greatest damage is when you cut the Shraddha or faith. And when you cut the faith, then nothing remains. So you have to have some faith in devotees. Find a devotee in whom you have faith and try to address your issues and move from, try to get solution to your perplexity. Okay? Yeah, any other question? You have a question?
I have 2 questions. The first question is, how do we, without the use of Shastra, explain the importance of, or the need of worshiping Krishna without using Shastra?
Without using Shastra. Okay, I'll answer that first. Is the second one related?
The second one is, I'm having difficulty trying to put it in a question format, but I know it's important to make sure that when we're dealing with the devotee association that we learn how to become tolerant and humble, but at the same time, how do we make sure that we're not being taken advantage of in that situation, even though we're trying to become purified in that association, if that makes sense?
So first question, is, how do we get faith about worshipping Krishna without use of Shastra? So when I tell this story, there is in a village, the villagers invited one saintly person to give talk. So they organized a talk, made a nice stage, and the saintly person came. He sat on the dais, turned to the audience and said, "How many of you in the audience believe in Krishna?" So everybody raised their hand. So they said, "Well, I came here to convince you that Krishna exists. But you already have faith in Krishna. So what is the point of my speaking? I am going away." So he walked away. So these villagers got bewildered. And we wanted to hear lecture, he went. All our arrangement is useless. So they brought him again. This time again they organized. Made him sit. And then again he said, "How many of you sitting in the audience believe in Krishna, Supreme Lord?" They had all made a plan. Nobody lifted their hands. And they all said, "Who's Krishna? We don't know. We don't believe." So the sadhu said, "I came here all the way to speak about Krishna. And if you don't believe in Krishna, what is the point of my staying here? I am going away." Okay. You sure?
Yes, Prabhu.
Pakka?
Pakka.
Okay.
Lock कर दिए.
I surrender. So now the sadhu goes away and the villagers call him again. Third time he comes and says, "How many of you believe in Krishna?" So this time they made a detailed plan. So there are sitting on the right 50%. They raise their hands, say, "Yeah, we believe in Krishna." Then others on the left put their hand, "We don't believe in Krishna." He said, "Well, those who believe in Krishna, preach to those who don't believe in Krishna. Sort this matter amongst yourselves." So, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, "Yah shastra vidhi mutsrijya vartate kamakartha, na susiddhim avapnoti na sukham na paranga." That basically Shastra means word of God. So there are three words which come from the same origin, Shas. Shas dhatu means to rule. To control, to rule is Shas. So the word Shishya, Shastra, Shasan, Shastra, all four come from the same root, Shas. Okay, Shastra means word of God. Second, Shishya means disciple, means one who allows himself to be ruled by the words of others who are ruled by the word of God. Third, Shasan, laws, bylaws, administration. It means we allow rules and regulations to govern us. And then, when nothing works, Shastra, weapon. You don't follow? We'll make you surrender. You don't do voluntary dandavat? You fall. So that's what riots happen. People are protesting. The police throws tear gas shell, this, that, and open fire. That's all. So basically, it is described that when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in South India, then he was arguing with the Buddhists. बौद्धाचार्य नव प्रश्न उठाएला, तर्क शास्त्रे खंड खंड कोइला. Mahaprabhu defeated them using logic. So when you say how do you convince people about Krishna based on logic and reason and not based on Shastra, then for every need there is something which exists in society. You feel thirsty? Water exists. You feel hungry? Food exists. You feel the need to breathe? Air exists. So people feel the need for a superior power to worship, to celebrate, to serve. So therefore, various forms people worship, and part of that is God also. So therefore, that need correlates with something which exists outside. So that's a very generic way of appreciating that yes, we need to worship the Supreme Lord, a God who exists in various forms. So as far as Krishna specifically is concerned, unless you actually appreciate, because the whole description of Krishna is there in Shastra only. So based on logic and reason, at the most you can, describe about God. The need to worship God can be established based on logic. But beyond that, when it comes to specifically Krishna, then you need to connect with Shastra. How to develop faith in Shastra? That is an important question, which is addressed by the fact that we have to have faith, and we are having faith on something or the other anyway. When I studied in IIT, right? And then when we are in first year, one of the experiment we had was experiment to find the value of gravitational constant G. As per Newton, it is 9.8 meter per second square. Right? His Holiness Newton. From the point of view of, he's worshipable in the scientific community. He's like one of the Mahajans. Like he's defining the standards, creating the laws. He's right there. So then it was funny that we were in a group and different people came up with different figures. Somebody came up 18, somebody said 52. One fellow came negative figure also. And one guy said, I did exactly the experiment as per what was said. Mine is coming 8 point something. Another said, hey, Newton ka baap ban gaya. Are you the father of Newton or what? The answer is 9.8. Our experiment should come somewhere near that. So therefore, although our experience was something, the tendency was to put more faith on the previous accepted norm. Right? So even in scientific community, when we are dealing with science, we are basically believing and following various standards which have been established before and just accepting it. So Prabhupada tells a story that one student was asked to write a essay on somebody called Haridwar Bashta, and he didn't know anything about him, and he just said Haridwar Bashta was a dibendi lactalized by the factory of Tinda. He just produced words. He created words. So out of his own factory, of his brain. And when the examiner saw that, he was impressed that how he has created new words. And he was impressed with his innovation and passed him. So sometimes it happens that we demand logic and reason from those in the spiritual arena. But many things which go on in the scientific paradigm are just accepted based on Shraddha, on faith. So therefore, this has to be properly investigated. There is a difference in our approach in both. So if you are like, I remember that we had one company which was establishing air conditioning in our temple. Radhanath Maharaj one day told that we should have our temple room should be air conditioned. So I was not very convinced. I said, anyway, people are sleeping during class. And you make it air conditioned. They may bring pillow also with them. He said, no, devotees come from far and wide. They must experience nice katha. So therefore, we should make it AC. So I said, okay, we reached out to various companies. Finally, we gave the contract to Blue Star. So then there was a clause that the temperature at all times must be in the range of 21 to 24 degrees. And then we added 2 words, including during kirtan. They didn't realize what that was. They signed. Then when the opening happened, during lecture, they tested. Yeah, okay. Then everyone got up. Then kirtan began. Went beyond. It went to 26, 27 degrees. So the guy was bewildered. Next week again changed it. Decreased the overall temperature. Still during kirtan. So we had held back 6 lakh payment. Including during kirtan. For 6 years we didn't make the payment. And finally the country head called me. Said, Baba, we surrender to your kirtan. Please let us close our account. They underestimated. So therefore, यदि वा तार्किक को है तर्क से प्रमाण, तर्क शास्त्र सिद्ध जई सही सेव्यमान, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य दया करो विचार, विचार करिते चित्ते पावे चमत्कार. सो कविराज गोस्वामी से समन में से यदि वा तार्किक कहे, a logician में से तर्क से प्रमाण, I only accept logic. तर्क शास्त्र सिद्ध यही. I believe in what shastra? तर्क शास्त्र. I believe in the scripture of logic. सिद्ध यही से सेव्यमान. So if you want to apply logic, Kaviraj Goswami says, apply your logic to Mahaprabhu's mercy and grace. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karah Vichar. That you benefit the body till the soul is there in the body, it is of use. The moment soul leaves the body, what is the use?
Yes.
So therefore, philanthropy means the highest good to the greatest number of people for the longest period of time. The highest good, highest benefit to the largest number of people for the longest period of time, which translates into Sat Chit Ananda. Ananda is the highest good. To the maximum number of people is Chit, because everybody is soul. For the longest period of time in Sat is longest period of time, is eternity. So therefore Krishna consciousness is the greatest benefit which we can give to others. And by giving of Krishna consciousness, sharing of Krishna consciousness, people's hearts are transformed. So therefore, I was distributing Bhagavad Gita in the local train. I was showing Gita to somebody. He was asking so many questions for 20 minutes. Is this Gita like this, like this, like this, like this? One of the favorite questions in India people ask is this Gita complete? All 900 shlokas. As if we'll make money by printing half Gita. So then after 20 minutes he's telling me, actually my grandfather already purchased one Gita. And my father purchased one more Gita. I have 2 Gitas at home. So I'm thinking you should have told me 20 minutes ago. So anyway, I gave him temple card, prasadam. I smiled at him. I went to the next bogie. He chased me down. Said, I want Gita. I said, you have one from grandfather, one from father. Why you need one more? He said, last 6 months my father is chastising me, wife is chastising me, boss is chastising me. In the last 6 months, you are the first person who has smiled at me. I want a Gita from you. So I said, if I knew that, I would have laughed and given a whole Bhagavatam to you. So, we may think, this Kali Yuga is a yuga where to be depressed is normal. One of my colleagues, is working in Citibank, my friend. He's a very happy-go-lucky person, keeps smiling. His boss called him inside cabin and said, why you keep smiling? So to be happy in Kali Yuga is abnormal. So a group of depressed people gather together, point to the happy person and say he's mad. So therefore, Premarasa Niryasa Kurite Aswadan Raga Marga Loke Bhakti Kurite Pracharan. Mahaprabhu has come to distribute what Krishna came to do, to taste and to teach love. And that is basically, the whole idea of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, many things which people are doing is beyond logic. People are committing suicide. That is beyond logic. The crime rates across the world is horrible. That is also not within logic. So many atrocities people are committing globally. It is so illogical. So why only in the field of spirituality you feel I will begin something after being logically convinced? Nobody waited to be logically convinced before opening Facebook account. Right? So the important thing is not logic or not logic. Important thing is, do you feel the need or not? If you feel the need, then you will take to it. If you don't feel the need, you will keep giving 100 excuses not to do something. The need is important. Okay. Did I answer both your questions or did I answer your one question? Or I confused you enough? And you forgot both your questions?
You answered the first question.
Okay.
The second question was along the lines of...
Okay, let's see if somebody else has a question and then we'll come back. Anyone else? Yeah.
So you mentioned experiencing Krishna consciousness, and you mentioned Chaitanya Prabhu went to Jagannath Puri, lived there for 18 years to experience Krishna consciousness. So we experience a lot of things on a regular or daily basis, on a regular basis, but we don't realize a lot of things. So I'm assuming there's a difference between experiencing and realizing things in our lives. So when we are practicing, what exactly do you mean by experiencing the bliss of Krishna consciousness? Is that
Right.
similar to realizing Krishna consciousness, or how to basically
Yeah.
understand?
Bhagavatam explains this. Dhautatma Purusha Krishna Pada Moolam Na Munchati. The symptom of a purified soul is Dhautatma Krishna Pada Moolam Na Munchati. He will not give up his service. That is the first symptom of his experiencing bliss. Experiencing bliss doesn't mean he'll start shivering or he'll start crying like that. He shows impeccable steadiness in his or her practice. That is a symptom of a purified soul. Krishna Pada Moolam Na Munchati, will not give up. Mukta Sarva Pariklesha Pantha Swa Sharanam Yatha. Becoming free from all kleshas, he experiences the joy of coming back in the shelter of Krishna. That is a symptom of experiencing joy. That your practice becomes steady and grows increasingly. Prabhupada was on a morning walk. Prabhupada turned to his devotees and said, "Why is Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead?" So one devotee said, "Srila Prabhupada, because Gita says so." Prabhupada said, "Well, Gita is just a book." Another devotee said, "Prabhupada, because you say." Prabhupada, "I'm an old man. I keep saying so many things." Then they said, "Well, Prabhupada, we don't know." Prabhupada said, "When you chant Hare Krishna, you experience reciprocation from the holy name. You experience higher taste. That gives you the faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Well, a couple of years later, the devotees were on a morning walk in Philadelphia. Again, Prabhupada asked the same question. Why is Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And one devotee who was in the previous morning walk was here. He thought, "I know the answer." He said, "Prabhupada, because when you chant Hare Krishna, you experience Krishna's reciprocation." Prabhupada said, "No, because Gita says." So, there are three things which must correlate: Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and your own experience. So when Mahaprabhu, he was chanting, when he began chanting holy names, he started experiencing ecstasy. So when Mahaprabhu experienced ecstasy in chanting, he approached his Guru. And Mahaprabhu told his Guru, "Kiba mantra dila gosai, kiba tarabal, japite japite hoila pagal." What mantra you have given that I don't know. I am becoming mad. So Prabhupada writes, this is the sign of an honest disciple. Mahaprabhu was experiencing ecstasy. Still he was consulting. It's always good to consult. So therefore, the important thing is that we continue steadily on the path. That is a symptom of experience of taste. When you're experiencing taste, you don't give up. When do you give up something? When you lose taste. And you don't have taste for some food or some item, you give it up. You reject it. When you have taste, you want more and more. That is a symptom. So therefore, the symptom of diminishing taste is that out of pride we start committing offenses. And then when we commit offense, aparadha is called aparadha. Radha means satisfaction. Diminishing satisfaction is called aparadha. That means I am no longer experiencing the satisfaction in my practice. I am losing the taste. And when I lose the taste, I don't take any more. When do you ask for second helping, third helping? When you have taste. When you are full, you say, bas. And when you don't like something, just by hearing about the item, right? The way they used to make Ekadashi Prasad in our kitchen, 93, seeing that I did Nirjal for 13 years. Just by the thought that I will eat this, Nirjala was more attractive. Like that. Many years ago, they had organized Science Congress in Kolkata. Top scientists were coming. And in order to kind of, touch their hearts and make them favorable, the most attractive part of that Congress was the prasadam. All four sides of the hall, buffet counter. I have never seen such an elaborate prasad anywhere. No item repeat. 4 different unique counters. And you could just go anywhere and pick up anything. Very elaborate. And there were some Nobel laureates also who had come. Idea was they should become favorable to Krishna, ISKCON, Gita, everything. And they were speaking like quantum mechanics, understanding God through quantum mechanics, this, that, everything, high-fi. The most difficult part of that conference was the post-lunch session. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Auditorium lights switch off. Light only on the stage. Topic quantum mechanics. Prasadam full. And I could hear snoring sound around. So after one session, I came out and Ratanath Maharaj met me. And he said, "Oh, so you're from IIT, you must be understanding all this quantum mechanic business and everything." I said, "Yeah, I'm from IIT, so I do understand few things, but in between I go to sleep." Maharaj said, "You're lucky. For me, in between I wake up." So then, after the whole conference was over, they were trying to preach to this one scientist. And this devotee, every scientist was being taken care by one devotee. So this devotee asked the scientist, "So, you must have appreciated the conference?" "Okay, conference, okay. I have attended hundreds of conferences." But the devotee wanted to hear something positive. "But, this was something different, no?" No different. We came, we spoke, we are going. But, you didn't feel anything special? Nothing special. So devotee couldn't give up. Said, "But what about the prasad?" That was like ultimate, no? He said, "Okay, good. But you know what? I love a certain kind of fish which I eat in Japan every day. I'm missing that so much. All I'm waiting for is to go back in the next flight and taste that fish. That's what I'm looking for. So that was his taste. So when he had taste for that, he could not, find taste even in the prasad, because his taste was somewhere else. So when we connect with Krishna consciousness, we develop a higher taste. But then when we commit offenses, we start losing that taste. So aparadha basically means diminishing satisfaction. And we should be very careful not to offend the devotees and lose the taste. Because when you lose the taste, you don't want the second serving. You don't want to taste more. You feel enough. So that's a very crucial factor to consider. So, what is the symptom? Symptom is steadiness. Symptom of getting a higher taste is steadiness. One is steadily practicing service without giving up. Okay? Any other question? Anybody else? Yeah.
So you mentioned two things what that happens when
You have a second question. Let's go to his second question first.
So my second question was, how do we learn to tolerate, or should we learn to tolerate whenever someone is actually consciously mistreating us? Because I think it's one thing to say that we should also be tolerant and humble whenever someone's unknowingly doing it. But when someone's knowingly mistreating, do we still give that same tolerance? Do we say something about it? In that fashion?
So therefore, you should know that Mahaprabhu who said Trinadapi Sunichina Tarorapi Sahishnuna. But when he was dealing with Jagai and Madhai, he had Sudarshan in his hand. Because he saw that they were mistreating Nityananda Prabhu. And Arjuna wanted to tolerate. Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna to provoke him to fight. So the Gita was spoken to make Arjuna violent. You know that. Why? Because the Kauravas were involved in violence. So that's what Bhishma Dev is saying when Kunti Maharani in her prayer says, Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu me Sneha Pasha Imam Chindi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. That please cut my attachment to all the things of this world. Aho Kashtam Aho Nyayam Yadayuyam Dharmanandanaha Jivitum Narhata Klishtam Vipra Dharma Achyutashraya Sarvam Kalakritam Manye Bhavatam Chedapriyam Sapalo Yadvashe Loko Vayor Iva Ghanavali. So these are all verses which are spoken by Bhishma Pitama, where he is saying the Pandavas had to go through so much of injustice in the presence of Krishna. But then finally, Krishna inspired the Pandavas to fight and kill the Kauravas. And then finally, Bhishma is happy that at last the Pandavas are victorious. So therefore, Krishna will have his own way of inspiring his devotees at different times. So that's, something which we cannot do anything about. The death is something which is there, When the death will come, we have no control over. So as far as the Pandavas were concerned, they were inspired by Krishna to fight in the battle and be the cause of death for the Kauravas. And in the process, they lost their sons also. So he's saying, Sarvam Kala Kritam Manye. Everything happens by the influence of time factor, and that time factor is the representative of death. When I want the Pandavas to become the instruments of death, that I will decide. So sometimes Krishna was inspiring them to tolerate, other times he was inspiring them to kill. Okay. Somebody asked Prabhupada, we heard thanks to the pharmaceutical industry, death rate is going down. Prabhupada, death rate is same, 100%. Anybody who's born has to die. You cannot avoid. So therefore, all of these personalities who were part of the Pandava family were also very tolerant. They went through a lot. When Draupadi was being insulted, they were tolerant. Bhima did not want to. But somehow he controlled himself to tolerate. And then when the time was over, when Krishna gave the order, they destroyed. So therefore, the timing is very important. And then he says, Yatra Dharmasuto Raja Gada Panir Brakodara Krishnostri Gandivam Chapam Surat Krishnas Tato Viva. It was more difficult for Pandavas to tolerate each other's different natures. Yudhishthir, truthfulness personified, compassion personified. Bhima, power personified, intolerance personified. Bhima was ready to kill, readily provoked. Arjuna, skill personified, very intimate to Krishna. Krishna was unabashedly partial towards Arjuna. Other Pandavas did not object. Yudhishthir did not tell Krishna, I am the eldest. Give me some time also. Why you are spending all time with Arjuna only? No. They appreciated and they tolerated Krishna's decision that you have chosen amongst the Pandavas Arjuna as your favorite. So for the other Pandavas to accept Arjuna as Krishna's favorite required tolerance. So many times when we are very closely staying together, we tend to get affected by other people's qualities and we feel insecure. Oh, he is having this quality, I don't have that quality. I was telling this, I tell this story in my seminars. There was a guy who was doing, a speaker's training. And then he was saying, you should begin your talk with something very, very sensational. For example, you can say, the best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife. And everyone got shocked. What is this? Said, and you should say that was my mother. So that is something sensational to begin with. So one guy in that audience goes to his village, gathers a crowd, and then he gets on the stage and says, the best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife. And it was the first time he was speaking, so he got nervous. And he was trying his best to remember what was the punchline. He forgot the punchline. For a few moments he was thinking, then he said, and I can't remember who she was. So, you may look at somebody and think, oh, he is doing like this, I should also do this. They are doing like this, I should also do it. We have to tolerate each other's success. We have to tolerate each other's advancement. We have to tolerate each other's special qualities which we may be having. We are all uniquely endowed. But the good news is, because you are pleasing Krishna in one way, doesn't mean that Krishna is expecting me also to please him the same way. The good news is, Krishna is pleased in my way, because he is looking at the attitude and the intention. One of our brahmacharis in the ashram, he is totally zero in music. So he don't know any tune only. He only sing Prabhupada dhun. That also sound like japa. So the congregation told, 5 years you are singing same tune. Can you sing different tune? For a change? You also deserve some change, you know. So he said, okay. He went to the one brahmachari in temple who knows singing. Teach me one new tune. He taught him new tune. He thought he has learned. When you don't know music, all the tunes go on here. But when the mic goes on, all tunes disappear. Right? Inside ISKCON Das and Madhava Das are going on. When the mic switches on, then whatever you know only comes out. So when he went to the program, he sat in front, switched on the mic, Prabhupada dhun. The audience said, Baba, you told us. I learned, but I forgot. He went to the temple back, told the devotee, you teach me now for sure. So he taught him that, okay, program starts 7:30, I'll start teaching you at 6 o'clock evening. From the time you hear, keep on chanting all the way till you reach the program. So that's what he did. He was singing all through taking bath, singing in the Grand Road station, singing in the train. People thought, oh, such a blissful brahmachari. When he reached the program, he offered obeisances in front of the altar. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya. He got up, he forgot. Again, Prabhupada. So then he begged forgiveness to the congregation and said, don't expect me to do this. This is not me. So Krishna wants you to offer something to him what you can naturally offer, not something artificial. There is no need to be artificial. You just share whatever you have sincerely with devotion. And that's what Krishna is looking for. So therefore, when we speak about tolerance, you require some maturity to understand what to tolerate in this situation, how much to tolerate. So at my own personal expense, I should tolerate. But when it comes to the association and for a cause, I must actually stand up. I must speak up. So that's an important thing to consider. Okay? Yeah, you still have that question? Or it's answered?
It's actually a follow-up question to my previous question.
Okay.
Is maybe I'm just hung up on the technicalities between these words, experience and realization.
Okay.
Is there a difference? Is it same? Because I've heard a lot of devotees that have been practicing for a very long time and now we don't see them anymore because of lack of realization.
Okay, I'll give you a technical answer. The first level of experience is called Adav Shraddha. Second level is called Sadhu Sangha. You come in association. And what is the first experience? You get halwa. You can't call it, I got realized in halwa. It was an experience. You got nice devotees, you started singing, chanting, you enjoyed the experience of kirtan. So that inspired you to start bhajan kriya. You started chanting. When you started doing bhajan, anartha nivritti. Anarthas got overcome. This takes a long time. When anarthas are overcome, then you come to nishtha, which is the difference between experience and realization. Adav shraddha to nishtha. So both refer to some degree of faith. Adav shraddha is initial unsteady faith. Nishtha is condensed, steady, mature faith. You understand? So you can call it that. That's the beginning of realization. So when you say realization, it means that you have realized that Shraddha Shabde Vishwase koi Sudrida Nishchay Krishna Bhakti koile Sarva Karma Krita hoy. That now I will not look back from Bhakti, because Nishtha means it is irreversible. Unless you do something really stupid. Nishtha means then you have crossed that. Then you're just going to go on. You're not going to come back again. You have reached the level. So the whole idea of sadhana bhakti is to reach the stage of nishtha. Once you reach the nishtha, then you accelerate beyond that. So therefore, Shraddha Shabda Vishwas. All of you have heard the word Vishwas. So Shwas refers to what? Shwas means breathing. In yoga, you do controlled breathing. Right? We have Claudia here, yoga teacher, who brings students to the Eco Village every year. So, when you do yoga, you control your breathing. When you control your breathing, that controlled breathing affects the mind. So when breathing becomes steady, mind becomes peaceful. And vice versa, when the mind becomes peaceful, when the mind is peaceful, your breathing is steady. So all of you know that breathing and mental state are closely connected. So when we have that belief that, oh, I lost my job, or a disaster happened here, disaster happened there. No, Krishna is in control of this situation. When I have believed that Krishna is in control of the situation, whatever may have happened, because of that, my mind is peaceful. When my mind is peaceful, my breathing is steady. So that is called Vishwas. Visheshena Shwas. The special kind of breathing, peaceful breathing, steady breathing, which is an outcome of the mental attitude that yes, Krishna is taking care of me. Just like a small child has faith. Father is there, mother is there, they will take care of me. So therefore, when you speak about realization, the process of realization actually begins from nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhav, prema. Right? So in bhava, there are 9 symptoms of bhava. Kshantir, avyartha kalatvam, that whole list is there. These are all realizations. So right now, when we are in the stage of anisthita bhakti, which is called unsteady devotion, we cannot have claims to realization. So right now we are in the process of, we earn $1,000, lose $2,000. earn $5,000, lose $7,000. So we can't say that. We can say that we are on the path of being millionaire. But only when you make $1 billion, then even if you lose $1 million, you still remain billionaire. So therefore, we are all here to earn in the satsang. Just like stock market, you go to earn dollars. So we come here in the association to earn Shraddha or faith. So we are simply adding Shraddha, Adav Shraddha. When you go on adding that Shraddha, at certain stage it becomes Nishtha. Then you add further faith, it goes on becoming Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem. So that is the process of growing our experience to realization by adding stages of Shraddha in the path of our devotional practice. So I was doing a program in California, and I gave a lecture, and after the lecture somebody came and looked at me and said, "Do you recognize me?" I said, you seem familiar." He said, "Yeah, I remember you used to come to my room in IIT. So I used to go to his room and give prasad." So this was in the 1992, 93. I used to go and give prasad, and we had a rule that anyone who chant one round, we would give them prasad. Once a week, I would go to the room, give prasad. And I would ask him to chant more rounds. He would never chant more than one. Because he would tell me that if with one round I am getting prasad, why should I chant more? So then I asked him, "Now I see Tilak and Timala, what happened? You seem to have changed." He said, "You know what, you used to come to my room and tell me this material world is place of misery, dukkhalem ashashvatam." And I used to think, looking at me, that I am frustrated and I am experiencing misery. So I am seeing the world as miserable. So he said, "Don't worry." He thought, "I'll go to America, do MS, life will be blissful." So he did MS. He started experiencing some misery. Someone said, "Do PhD." He did PhD. So then he thought, okay, the dissatisfaction is not going away. Someone said, "Take a job." Started a job. Still dissatisfied. Someone said, "Get married." He got married, all his doubts were finished. And then he said, "I've done everything which everybody asked me to do, still I'm dissatisfied." Took out the Gita. Came to that page. Dukkhalem ashashvatam. That all makes sense. Search for the local Hare Krishna temple. Came to Laguna Beach, ISKCON, got connected with devotees. And now he is Lokanath Maharaj's disciple. So I used to give him prasadam in 1992. And then he got initiated in 2007. So I told him sometime prasad takes 15 years to digest. So initially for him experience was what? Just prasad. But for that to grow into a certain kind of faith, that yes, this is what my life is meant for. It takes time. So therefore, what we call as realization is a very serious, substantial, irreversible experience. Till it reaches the stage of being irreversible, we can't call it realization. We can just call it some, certain experiences we are getting now and then in Krishna consciousness. So that's my realization. On realization. Okay. So I thank all of you very much, and thank Prabhuji for inviting me here and organizing this event. And I hope and pray that all of you continue practicing Krishna consciousness blissfully, experience the joy of Krishna consciousness, and share Krishna consciousness with others as per your capacity. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare